Hello everyone, welcome to Arka Science, and today in this video I will be talking about the retrogression of Mars, which has already taken place on 30th of October 2022, and it's been an amount of time when Mars transit is been very specifically discussed, because the retrogression of Mars happens once in a 2 years. It is not a very regular fact. Means last time it happened in the year 2020, when it got retrograded in the sign of Aries, then it moved back into the sign of Pisces. But now it is happening in the sign of Gemini. On 30th of October it has turned retrograde. So just let me allow you to give you some brief summary of this particular transit, because that will help you understand that how the energies are getting shifted. It started few months back when Mars entered the sign of Taurus. Now during that particular time I also made a detailed video regarding this. The transit of Mars through the sign of Taurus was very slow. Normally it takes 45 days to transit a sign, but it took some amount of time, some more amount of time, and finally it entered the sign of Gemini in the month of October 2022. But within a span of 12 or 13 days, on 30th of October 2022, it turned retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and now it is planning to move back again into the sign of Taurus on 13th of November 2022. Now let me clarify one more thing, is that since again this retrogression of Mars is taking place and it is moving back to Taurus, it is very essential to understand that here we are discussing all these things with respect to Vedic astrology, which follows the sidereal zodiac system based on geocentric approach. Normally no planet retrogrades, because in normal sense the planets are moving in their predefined orbit. They are moving in their own path. But when you are talking about geocentric system, means we are looking into the longitude of the planets based on where we are on Earth. Sometimes it feels as if the planet is moving backwards, and that is what it is happening in the sign of Gemini with Mars. Since we are talking about sidereal zodiac with respect to Vedic astrology, that is the reason on 13th of November it will move back into the sign of Taurus. So it is very essential to understand that when you are looking into some planetary energies, or when you are talking about specifically with respect to retrogression of a planet, it is very essential to understand that we should not come into a conclusion based on one statement or one line or two lines, because Vedic astrology has its roots very deep. It is a very deep science, very secret science. It has got so many branches and so many subsections also. Okay, so we have to understand that, and everything has links to one planet or one zodiac sign in a different way. So we have to give proper respect to that particular thing. We should not just give some one liners that retrograde planet is this. No, please don't do that, because it not only impacts us, because our word, thought and actions not only impacts the listeners but also it impacts us. Okay, so we must understand that. Now let me talk about one more important thing, is that in this video I will be giving you the insights with respect to all the 12 ascendant signs and moon signs for the next 13 days. Next 13 days means till Mars enters the sign of Taurus back again in its retrograde motion. So this will be with respect to the backward motion in the sign of Gemini till 13th of November. The moment it enters the sign of Taurus, it will be a long journey, around 74 days, when it will be in the sign of Taurus. So I will be making a detailed video for that. When it enters the sign of Taurus, I will make again a detailed video for that, because it will be really a big time frame when Mars will actually move into the sign of Taurus, and it will take you some time of around 74 days, around if I'm not wrong, in the second week of January 2023. in the second week of January 2023, Mars will again turn direct in the sign of Taurus. Then again it will move forward in its direct motion, and again it will cross Taurus, and again it will come back into the sign of Gemini. But it will take some time. It is not a time frame of 1 day or 1 week. It will take you some amount of time. So in this video I will be discussing it in detail with respect to the next 12 or 13 days till 13th of November 2022. So based on your ascendant, based on your moon sign, what are the general insights which we can look upon, that I will discuss in this particular video, and I will try to make it a bit brief and concise so that it will be easy for you to understand in a much more clear way. And the moment it enters the sign of Taurus, I will try to make a detailed video for that, for every one of you. That will be much more helpful to every one of us, because sometimes we need the crisp informations, because that will be much more better for every one of us. And anytime if you want a consultation from me, because these transits will definitely impact us based on our dasas, based on our planetary positions in our horoscope. So the impact or the magnitude of any transit will be different from person to person. It will not be same for every one of us. Yes, it will definitely be impacting us to smaller magnitude, or it can be sometimes in a big way. So you can just drop me a mail for any personalized consultations, or you can just find the links in the description section. You can just get in contact with me with my Facebook or Instagram accounts. And since 2023 is around the corner, so if you want a yearly consultation for me, yearly reading from me for your horoscope, then you can also contact me or directly mail me through my mail, okay, or contact with me with my Facebook or Instagram accounts. So now let me just talk about the 12 ascendant signs and what are the general insights or impacts which can be expected due to this retrogression of Mars, which is happening in the sign of Gemini and which has already started on 30th of October 2022. Now the first thing is that Mars is energy basically. So wheresoever it transits, it energizes the house, it energizes the impact of the significance of that house, and it is necessary. Now it is also essential for us to channelize the energy in a proper manner, because if we fail to do so, sometimes it can lead to impulsions, sometimes it can lead to compulsions, frustrations, agitations, unnecessary anger, okay. But if we are channelizing our energies in a proper manner, then that can lead to some great success also. And this may take some period of time, because sometimes planets becomes retrograde. It takes a long amount of time, and that is what is happening in the sign of Gemini for Mars, for every one of us, correct. Now for the Aries people, the same thing which is happening in the sign of Gemini, which happens to be your third house, this retrogression of Mars can bring upon some unresolved communications, some unsolved arguments or disputes in front of you all of a sudden. So this is a time to bring closer to any kind of communications or arguments which you might have had in your past. So those things may all of a sudden come in front of you. So I will just say that suppose anything might have had happened in your past and some things are coming in front of you, then just take it as a good time to bring a closer to it, fix it. Suppose there are any miscommunications which had happened in your past, then this is a time when you can fix those things. Just bring a closer to it. Okay. Another thing is that since third house happens to be your house of intellectual abilities, your curiosity, your short travels, or your mental abilities, okay, basically our thought process and communication skills. So many things, all of a sudden you will find that your mental abilities are getting much more better. You can think on multiple arenas at one particular time, okay. So this is a time of multitasking or breaking through some kind of things which you find a bit difficult normally, but this is the time when you can find the solutions for it. It can be anything, just work on your mind and you will find the solution for it. Another thing is that suppose if you are thinking to start a new hobby, This is a time when you can actually start something where you might be thinking that okay, later on I will think about it, but this is the time when you can actually give it a start and put your efforts and actions and get success through it. So that's it for the Aries ascendant people. For the Taurus ascendant people, this is happening in your second house, and this is a time when you need to be much more clear regarding how you are allocating your money, allocating your finance and resources. This is not a time to just spend your finances and money in some places where you may feel that yes, I require it only to look up to your self-esteem. Okay, so you have to just think about your priorities, that what are the things where actually I can allocate my money, put up my resources the best ways. Because sometimes what happens, in order to prove our value systems correct, we can sometimes put up some decision making regarding to our family matters, something related to our value system or our financial decisions, but that may not be correct. Okay, so this retrogression of Mars happening in your second house. Don't forget, Mars happens to be your 12th lord, retrograding in your second house. So this is a very high time when you must take care regarding your decisions, regarding your value system, your self-esteem, and how you are allocating your resources. So suppose if you are thinking that certain things which are not required for you, and you can close that chapter and use those things which are really your priorities, specifically with respect to your family matters, with respect to your finances. Do the same, do those things which will be really helpful for you, because this is just a start. It will carry on, don't forget, it will carry on. So just take the right decisions with respect to your family matters, your value system and your finances. And yes, since it is happening in your second house, so don't go for any kind of arguments or anything related to harsh and rude speech, okay, when you are talking with anyone. So that thing has to be taken care of. For the Gemini ascendant people, this is happening in your first house. So all of a sudden you will find a strong urge to put yourself in front of the world. You may feel that now the time has come when I have to prove myself. This kind of feelings may come. So this is a time to complete some unfinished works, to take some right decision makings, the decisions which you are feeling that should I take it or not, or should I do it or not, or should I give it a start or not. This is the time when you can take some proper right decisions and prove yourself in front of the world, and just have proper belief on your talent through your intellectual abilities, because it is happening in the sign of Gemini, which rules over intellect, okay, ruled by Mercury. Now one more thing, since it is retrograding on your first house, at times it can also lead to some kind of anger or frustration. Mercury rules over your 11th house and your 6th house. So that means you need to be very careful when you are communicating with your close circles. Or I will also say that this is not a good time to get into any kind of disputes or any kind of arguments or anything which can lead to some kind of difficulties in life. Rather, I will say this is a good time to take some self-care also. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your personality. This is a time when you can be more focused towards yourself. On the other hand, since Mars will be looking onto your 7th house of relationships, so I will also give you some idea that this is not a good time to get into any kind of difference of opinion with your partner. Okay, so these are the things which you need to be very careful for the next 12 or 13 days. So all the best. For the Cancer ascendant people, this transit of Mars is happening in the 12th house of subconscious mind. So at times you may feel certain things are going beyond your control. You may feel that I am doing my best, I am trying my best, but certain things are not coming up or not showing up as I feel, or the results may not be as you expect it to be. And those things can be related to your management, your planning, your talent, or it can be related to your career and profession, because Mars rules your 5th house and 10th house. That means certain things which you are putting up in your efforts your actions, in your karma, your career and profession, you may not get the results as you feel, as you sought to be. So this is the time, just do your work, because since it is retrograding in the 12th house, so this is a piece of advice for me, from me, that just do your work, just follow your aims and goals. If necessary, you can take up some new opportunities also, just give it a start, but don't just sit back with the thought that the things are not going correct. Okay, because the moment you feel that since the things are not going correct, am I doing something wrong, or should I sit back? Don't do that, just do your work, just keep it continued, because don't forget, this Mars will continue back into the sign of Taurus, which happens to be your 11th house, because when it moves back into your 11th house, the game changes. Okay, so just wait for it. This is not a time to get a setback. In fact, this is a time to continue your efforts, and then you will see the things will be much more better in the upcoming days. Because don't forget, although it is retrograding, but it will be aspecting your 3rd house of efforts. That means you will be getting that sense of putting your efforts also. Okay, just do the things that, if anything is missing, if anything which you feel that should have been given some start, some continuity, look into those things, that what were the shortfalls, what were the shortcomings, just work on that, and the things will be much more better for you in the upcoming days. For the Leo ascendant people, this particular retrogression is happening in your 11th house, so this has to do many things with your network circle, with your desires and fulfillment of hopes and wishes. So I will say that this is the time to remove any kind of miscommunications between you and your network circles, or your team. Suppose if you are working in some multinational company, or you are working in a group, or you are working in a team, any kind of miscommunications, any kind of lack of faith, energy, or technicality has to be removed. If there are any situations where you may feel the team is not working in a group, or where you are feeling that you are not able to express your energy or thoughts in a better manner in front of the people with whom you are working, then this is the time when you can take a step and solve those issues first, and then only going forward. Because don't forget, it happens to be your 11th house of hopes and wishes. So that means until and unless you work on certain things with respect to this communication factor, or how you are dealing with your network circles, you are not going to get enough results from them, correct? So if you are thinking that I am expecting some desires to be fulfilled, but there are some matters which are not been cleared, then clear it now. This is the time. Or you may also get some new opportunities. This is the time when you can also get some new opportunities. Just keep doing your hard work. New opportunities with respect to your fulfillment of wishes, hopes, and your desires. Just work on that, and that will give you much more better results. One more thing, since it will be aspecting your 2nd house of wealth, this is also a time, don't go for any kind of unnecessary spendings, and communication should be upright, but it should not be very harsh and rude, because 2nd house is also the house of speech. So make sure that you are communicating in a much more better manner. Try to avoid arguments, but at the same time try to resolve the miscommunications also. So that's it for the Leo ascendant people. For the Virgo ascendant people, this is happening in your 10th house. Now you may feel that after so much hard work, you are doing so many things at your work, you are proving your best, you are just giving your best to do your work, but this Mars is retrograding over here. It means certain things you may feel that what are the things left behind, that if I can do, I can get some good results. So there can be some kind of frustration, but at the same time I will advise you that don't go for any kind of difference of opinion with your authorities. This is not the right time, because don't forget that for the Virgo ascendant people, Mars happens to be your 8th lord, and 8th lord retrograding in the 10th house. This is a time when out of your frustration, or out of that certain things which you may feel not going on your way. Some arguments or disputes may happen at your work environment. That can be with respect to your authorities, it can be with respect to anyone in your work environment. Just try to avoid it. In fact, try to find the things which you are lacking, which you are feeling that what are the things which I can do, which can bring me up front, in front of the world, in front of the stage, so that everyone can know my talent, my work and my abilities. So those are the things which you need to be very careful, because don't forget that this Mars will aspect your first house, your ascendant. So if you don't channelize your energy now, it can make you very anxious and hot-headed, and that can lead to some kind of impulsive actions. So try to avoid that. Another thing is that since 8th lord is retrograding in the 10th house, this is also a time you, if you want, if you try, you can also search and get some good opportunities at your work. Okay, now that will be completely dependent upon how much hard work you are doing or how much you are trying for it. Okay, so that will also depend upon your dasas also, but there is a chances that you may get some good opportunities at your work depending upon your hard work. So that's it for the Virgo ascendant people. For the Libra ascendant people, this is happening in your 9th house. So that means it is a time to rethink and reevaluate your long-term goals, your ambitions, through your wisdom, through your teachings of your guru and father, through righteous approach, that what do you actually want from your life. This is a time when you will be reevaluating the things, because you may feel that I have been I've been doing this, I've been doing that, so what actually I want from my life. So this will be a time to relearn certain things in order to achieve certain things in your life. Okay, so this is also a time when you may also start some new hobby, because don't forget this Mars will look directly onto your 3rd house. So you can just look onto certain things where you may feel, yes, I can learn this, I can do that, and that will give me much more better results in the upcoming days, because this Mars is very innovative. This Mars will allow you to relearn new things and try to follow your goals, your aims in life and ambition. Okay, make the most out of it. Just make sure that you are not going into any kind of miscommunication or any kind of harsh communication, because 3rd house where it is looking on is also the house of communication. Just try to avoid it. Just maintain your calmness. Okay, that will give you much more better results. For the Scorpio ascendant people, this is happening in your 8th house. So this is a time when it is very essential to look upon your vulnerabilities, your fear and insecurities, certain things which are challenging your fear factor, certain things which are challenging your insecurities and vulnerabilities. You have to make a stand, you have to choose your priorities. This is the time, this retrogression of Mars, because Mars happens to be your first lord. So you will get that energy all of a sudden. You will feel that yes, these are the things which are bringing problems in my life, let me clear it down. Because the moment you take a stand and stand for yourself and make the correct decision, this will transform your life, because 8th house is the house of transformation. Now how we take it, that will depend completely upon our word, thought and action. So this is a time when you will be able to look through your vulnerabilities, your fear, your insecurities, and you will be turning it in your favor. Okay, one more thing, in this due process you can also look upon certain things where you can connect with spirituality, because when we move away from fear, when we go beyond those kind of things, we can actually know the truth of life. So this is also a very good time when you can do some spiritual activities, take care of your health. That will give you much more better results. Okay, just try to avoid any kind of rashness, means try to avoid any kind of impulsion, because it is 8th house, because that can lead to some kind of unnecessary difficulties, because 8th house also leads to certain things beyond our control. So try to avoid any kind of impulsion or unnecessary anger or unnecessary arguments. These are the very essential things to be understood for the Scorpio ascendant people, because don't forget 8th house is also the house of Mangalya Sthan. It is the house of married life. Okay, so here Not only the marriage is in the concern, it is also all about the partnership. Okay, means what we are doing after the partnership. Okay, so in that particular sense also you need to be very careful, take appropriate decisions regarding that. For the Sagittarius ascendant people, this Mars is retrograding in your 7th house. Now this has to be taken care of. Why I say? Because certain matters which might had not been cleared in past between you and your partner. Now that can be married partner, means your spouse, wife or husband. It can be anyone in with whom you are in relationship with, or it can be your business partner, or it can be anyone in your opponents or rivals. Certain matters which might not had been cleared in the past, all of a sudden may come up in front of you, and you will feel that I have to take the decisions right now. So I will say that try to fix a closer to it. Okay, certain things where you may feel that should I talk about it or not, although it may seem difficult for you, that if I go ahead it may increase my difficulties, although it will bring some difficulties, but try to bring a closer to it, try to fix it. Otherwise those arguments or those things which might have not been solved in the past, it will chase you. This is the time when this Mars will bring it upon in front of you. I will say that rather than going into any kinds of arguments or fights, it is better to bring it closer to it, because it is just like that you and your partner, it should be like you both are striving, doing your best in order to stay together. Now in order to stay together, there are certain things which needs to be resolved, certain disputes needs to be coming to a closer. Okay, it is just like that, in order to bring that peace, some things has to be cleared off. Okay, so those things needs to be done, those things has to be given more priorities rather than just making things more difficult. Okay, so that's it for this Sagittarius ascendant people. Only make sure that you are not going into unnecessary fights and arguments, because this Mars will look directly onto your 1st house and 2nd house. Okay, at times it will make you very anxious. Okay, so just avoid that rather than try to go for the solutions, although it may seem very difficult in the initial stage, but later on it will give you very good results. For the Capricorn ascendant people, this is happening in your 6th house. Now Mars happens to be your 4th lord, transiting in the 6th house in the retrograde motion. So this is a time where you need to focus on the balance regarding how much duties and services you are doing for others and how much you are focusing on yourself, because 6th house deals with our duties, our service, our hard work, our struggle, okay, our daily schedule, and also our health. So that means when we make sure that how much we are focusing on others and how much we are focusing ourselves, because this 4th lord retrograding in the 6th house, it means a time has come when you need to take care regarding your own health also, regarding your own choices also. How much time are you giving for yourself? This is also a time to make sure that apart from doing your duties and services, you also need some time for your own rest, for your own care. So proper health care during this particular time, proper giving yourself, your health a priority, your choices a priority, that will give you much more better results. So that's it for the Capricorn ascendant people. For the Aquarius ascendant people, this Mars is retrograding in your 5th house, and here I will say that certain things which you like the most, which you are very passionate about, those things all of a sudden you may feel a bit uninterested towards. You may feel that oh, I have been doing all these things, I am getting bored about it. So this is the time when you can start some new hobby, because some things will be there where you might get interested, some new hobbies, some new way of creativity where you can feel the peace of mind while practicing it. Like suppose someone is a very good player of football, all of a sudden the person may get interested in badminton. Okay, so it is just like that, that you may get interested in something else. One more thing, since fifth house also deals to certain extent with respect to our peace of mind, so one of the reason for getting uninterested in your passion or creativity is that some kind of distractions. This is the time to work on those distractions, work on it, remove it, resolve it, and then you will find your passion, your interest towards your creativity, your talent in a much more better manner. So that's it for the Aquarius ascendant people. For the Pisces ascendant people, this is happening in your fourth house. Now this is important transit, I will say, because it is the house of your happiness, your mental peace and security, your domestic environment where you live in, and this is Mars is retrograding. So now you have to take care regarding any kind of family matters and domestic matters which has not been resolved up till now, because those things will come in front of you and you cannot avoid it. I will say this is the time to resolve it. It is not like that ignore it or avoid it and just leave it, later on I will look into it. No, if it is related to your near and dear ones, it is related to your family, it is related to your domestic place where you live in, I will say certain matters which are creating problems, which are not allowing you to get your mental peace, resolve it. This is the time. Just make sure that you bring a fix, you fix it, you bring a closer to it. One more thing, you can also involve yourself into some domestic matters, like channelizing your energy in decorating the house, renovating the house, or making it clean, making it more beautiful to look at, because it will not only channelize your energy in a beautiful manner but also bring some good energies between you and your other family members living in that house. Okay, so involve yourself in family activities, involve yourself in domestic activities in a nice manner. It will be just like some kind of cooperative energies by you, from you, towards your home and domestic affairs. Okay, so be it make it more constructive, more creative, and more intellectual. That will give you much more better results. So that's it for the Pisces ascendant people, and I hope you all have liked this video. If you have liked this video, press the like button and share to your near and dear ones. And next time when I come back, I will be coming back with the Mars retrograde in the Taurus. Okay, I will make that video also in a detailed manner, because on 13th of November Mars is entering into the sign of Taurus, and it will be a long transit in the retrograde motion. So I will make a detailed video for that. And anytime if you want a consultation, please check the links in the description section. You can mail me directly through my email ID or get connected with my Facebook or Instagram accounts. And if you are new to this channel, press the subscribe button, click on the notification bell icon, so that every time I make a new video you get notified instantly. So I'm signing off for today. Thanking you. Bye bye.